One.
Hey guys, welcome to Sykes' Survivor Pool, discussing episode 13. I think it was called The Penultimate Step of the War. We're here tonight. We're going to break it all down, an exhilarating, scintillating 2-hour episode. We've got a pretty good turnout tonight. Like I said, I am the titular Sykes. We're going to have a lot of tets tonight. You guys, say hi, introduce yourselves real quick for everybody who may be tuning in on YouTube. I'll crack my beer.
All right. I'm Paul. I'm Ryan's brother, and I am the self-proclaimed foremost expert of Survivor in Canada.
Ew!
Canada, not North America? Come on.
Fucking the world.
Hey, everybody. I'm Greg. I do the spreadsheet.
Right on. Hey, Greg. Hey, Paul.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leanne. I've been in the pool for, 6-7 years now and love our chats.
Hey,
Cheers, Lee.
My name's Steve. I've won the pool, and I've lost it more times than not.
Like everybody. Right?
Hey, just like Michelle tonight, everyone else is second place, okay? Don't worry, we all got second place, Michelle. Everyone else gets second. We have one winner, one sole survivor, and everyone else is second. Caitlin, who are you?
I'm Caitlin, and the pool's what got me watching Survivor again. I don't know if it's gambling or that I'm actually interested in this show, but when my Survivor wins immunity, what do, Ryan? Yes! Get really excited.
Right into it.
Hi, Caitlin. And then who's Randy? Do it again. I cut you off.
Hey, my name's Randy. I am not part of this pool, but I love Survivor, and I'm so glad to be part of this group, though. And listen in, chant, chime, whatever. Talk about whatever I want to.
Honorary member until next season, I guess.
Absolutely. Yes. And Randy is the star of not one, not two, but 3 commercials.
Oh, wow.
You may recognize Randy from television commercials. All right. So we're lucky to have he's probably going to get too big for the pool at some point.
Yeah.
He's pretty much Canadian royalty at this point.
Absolutely. So it's nice to have everybody here. Thanks for the intro, guys. Let's get into the show. I guess we'll start out. It's a little bit more tricky with the 2-hour episode because we have 2 big stories. The first story would be that Jeremy gets voted out in a 3-2-2. 3 votes, Ben, Tony, and Nick for Jeremy. We got Denise and Sarah voting for Michelle, and Michelle and Jeremy are voting for Ben. I thought this was an interesting and successful vote split. I think this was entirely run. This was the Tony and Sarah show once again. And I think it worked out pretty well for those particular parties. I don't understand why Nick doesn't. You see the opportunity there for Nick to maybe take a shot, flip his vote. Nick flips his vote to Ben and takes it off Jeremy. Maybe he eliminates Ben as a threat, and Nick is probably still in the game. The tribal, from my perspective, I'll get you guys to stop in a sec. One of the longest non-live tribals I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Get the impression, and I've heard people talk about this on a podcast. I just want to say hi to Potty Mouth Trotty there. Potty Mouth Trotty, you want to introduce yourself? We all did intros.
We all did intros? Oh, geez, what did I miss?
Just say hi.
Hi.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
There you go. Hey, bravo.
Long-time member.
Long-time pool member, big Survivor fan. Nice to see you, Kel.
Sorry, I was late.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. So, gosh, you guys, one of the longest non-live tribals I've seen. My impression is that the show was supposed to be an hour. They realized they had some extra time. CBS gave them an extra hour due to COVID or whatever. And then like, let's see if we can just tease this out a bit. And those tribals went on forever. One of the interesting
I would rather.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You finish off. Sorry.
I was just going to say there's a lot of talk about. So I do always watch the episode again, and this I actually had to fast forward through past the part where Jeff was like, so when you get back into the real world, is it hard to trust people? And everybody's like, oh yeah, I couldn't trust my wife anymore, and I don't trust a bus driver anymore. Like, is that really accurate? Do you really think that that's the case? Or are people just like, people want to buy into Jeff's narrative, I think, and talk about anything other than what their strategy is, because they don't want to give anything away during tribal. Anyway, those are my takes on that. That's all I probably have to say about that. You guys go for it.
I'd really like to chime in here because I found I couldn't watch that segment once. I fast forwarded the tribal council. It was brutal. Everyone was bending over backwards to be like, yeah, I had Survivor PTSD, and my dog was out to get me when I got home. Yeah. And I just have a hard time believing that these people can't compartmentalize their minds in a way. Like, I was playing a game, and now I'm home. My wife isn't lying to me about where she's going today, right?
Yeah, it's so weird that you would go and play a game for, I don't know, in these guys' cases, they played for 40 days.
That first tribal was the one where Jeff asked all the questions about, like, what's it like? Do you trust people when you get home and stuff, right? Was that first tribal?
Yeah,
correct.
Because the other thing I noticed about that first tribal is they pretty much showed Tony saying, you two are voting for so-and-so, you two are voting for so-and-so, and the three of us are voting for Jeremy. So, and then you got to tribal, and that's exactly what happened. And I was kind of shocked that they just showed the scene of that talk, and that's exactly just what happened at tribal. And they wasted a bunch of time at tribal on useless stuff.
I think it's good to mix it up once in a while.
Couldn't disagree
so it's not
more.
Always a misdirect.
Couldn't disagree. This is
what happens when you have a very popular web series, guys. Everyone wants to talk. Let's see what Steve has to say. Steve-O,
here's what I have to say. I love the movie Castaway, and I loved it at the end when he couldn't go into the room without turning on the light. And I was like, all these stories, I was like, I'll take that over the whispering and the running around any day. I thought that was solid. I thought that was great. I really liked it. So, and yeah, I recognize there was an element where it's like, I don't trust anyone. I thought, okay, well, on the other hand, though, I thought it was kind of cool. So that's my 2 bits.
I have to agree with Steven. I was so glad there was none of this running around and whispering during those both tribals. I was like, okay, this was good. Like, I get so tired of that. Now, the other thing I didn't like, and my friend, we were both watching it on Zoom, and he pointed out, he goes, notice Jeff is speaking a lot of more black lingo. And so then I rewatched it, and yeah, Jeff starts to say things like, oh, we watched this one segment where he's just got this more of a, how should I say this?
Careful, Randy. I don't want this podcast to become a hate crime.
Okay, so I will find it again, and I'll bring it up next time. But yeah, Jeff has got more of this street vibe, black talk going on.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not pick up on that. Do you think that was because Jeremy was still on the show?
You know what? I don't know if it was during the first or the second.
Okay.
But actually, while you guys are doing this, I'm going to just talk to my buddy and find out what he said.
Okay, sure. Okay. Sounds good. You guys raise a good point. I do like getting a few more character moments. We did get a little bit of insight into the people. The problem is that I don't always, I kind of feel like at the Tribal Council, it's a bit disingenuous, as I stated before. I think they're putting on a bit of a show, number one, for Jeff, number two, because it's television, where they're talking through all these, oh, Jeff thinks a thing. Well, I'm going to play that up so I don't actually have to, betray what my actual strategy is going to be, so it doesn't become
right. My big concern there is that, like, we're getting these elongated tribal councils where everyone is just speaking fluff. And what is this at the expense of? I'd rather spend more character moments on the beach. I'd rather have a little more strategy talk. There's a variety of other ways you could kill that time. This wasn't effective, in my opinion.
If there was interesting stuff that was being asked at tribal, then I'm all into that. But it seems this season they're talking really about nothing important at tribal, or they're just whispering everything.
Right. There's no happy middle ground this season.
Yeah, I feel like it's just analogy after analogy after analogy. You know what I kind of do miss, though, after watching Tony's season last weekend, is the reward challenges. I don't need it every week, but I think a few would be interesting. It's kind of,
could have used a reward challenge for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting also the strategy that comes out of the reward challenges, because a lot of the times they go away and whisper and things that happen there, right? Or they'll find a clue or something. It adds a little bit of dynamic to the game.
That reminds me that
I couldn't agree with you more, yeah.
There was on the fire token menu list, they clearly had steal a reward from someone, but they didn't really do any reward stuff.
No reward, yeah, true.
Did they maybe not do rewards this season so that they could give more coverage to the players that were on edge?
Sure, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'd assume so. And it's possible they've done this in the past where they've filmed reward challenges and then they just haven't shown them. I don't think they did that this week because they had a ton of time to kill. You know what I really miss about the reward challenges? And I'm gonna have to say with fire tokens, I think I want to hold off on like the judgment of the fire tokens until maybe we'll do like an end of season retrospective or something like that, because we could go on forever and ever and ever. But we'll talk about how they were used and stuff tonight. I want to kind of process a little bit with the fire tokens about whether or not they're useful. But in terms of the reward challenge, I loved it when you had a reward challenge where you could figure out what the pecking order was, because you'd be able to, like, you'd be throwing things and you'd have to hit somebody's target 3 times or something like that, and you would see who would go out first and then where their position in the game was, and then second and third, and who would target whose. And I kind of like that, getting that insight. It's maybe bad at Final 7 or Final 6, but to get that earlier on in the game, I
actually watched something recently on why that type of challenge is not in Survivor anymore, because there was a season Jeff got all pissed off because everybody was basically just talking about who they wanted to win and with like what order they were all gonna like eliminate themselves, and Jeff just was like fuck it, you know, if you guys are deciding who's gonna win, why play? Just tell me who you want to win and let's fucking get the hell out of here. And he was really pissed off about that whole thing, and they've never had that type of challenge since.
So that's too bad. I like that challenge. There's another one I liked, is they would ask like questions about the remaining survivors, like who is the least deserving survivor to be here? Yes. And I liked that got people really salty, and I kind of thought that added a little bit of flavor to the end game.
Those ones were really good. Go ahead, Randy.
Caitlin said about the reward challenge too is the ones where you have to pick 2 others, and then you see what the pecking order is too. Like, okay, you won and you won. Now, you know what, Caitlin, you pick one more person to come along, and then Caitlin, one more, and then you see where everyone stands. And I do actually miss that part.
I miss it too, because no one ever, like, everyone seemed to always tip their hand. Like, you should always take the swing vote with you, but so few people were smart enough to do that. They always just took their buddies, and you're like, okay, these other 4 now are going to get together and vote those 3 out. But that rarely happened either.
Yeah, I've noticed about the like taking stuff out of the shows and everything too, and this is just like the smallest little detail, but it's like they used to send the parchment paper and go to the water well and pick up the clue, and then they'd all figure it out together, and they'd practice for the challenges and stuff. They showed like the little parchment or whatever that they read like 2 episodes ago or 1 episode ago, and I'm like, oh, they still do that. Like, it feels so robotic now, where it's just like, okay, we've got, you know, the start, and then tree mail just doesn't exist anymore. So I miss those like details and everything of like old school Survivor. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they've strayed quite a bit from the original plot, but you know, they're trying to keep people interested. They got to keep the millennials. They're trying to grab in a millennial audience. I don't know how many millennials watch this show. How many do we have here in the group? Leanne, I would say.
2?
Paul,
I don't think so. I think I'm at like the top edge.
I didn't say how many people were dating millennials. All right. Very little else from that tribal. Michelle plays that coin. What do you guys think? Was that an authentic flip?
No,
I rewatched it because I thought
it was kind of a.
It was.
That was kind of.
I did watch it. It did flip around once, so whatever.
Yeah, I mean, shouldn't Jeff flip that?
Sure. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
I think the survivor should flip it, but it was pretty weak.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if the survivor should pick it, honestly, or if they are
anyway. So it, wouldn't have made a difference.
You can with that thing, you can practice the weight of it, right? And like how many oscillations you need, right? So
I'm sure she did it. Spent the entire just days and days flipping that coin.
Absolutely, right?
Ryan,
bottom line is. Oh, this is gonna be a great story. Usually good stories start with one time at curling.
Becky flipped the coin, and she did it with her thumb and everything, and it literally didn't flip. It went up and straight down. And I was like, what? She didn't even notice.
That's a good skill if you can master it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. I don't know how she did it.
Well, I don't know why Michelle did it, because it made no effect on the game whatsoever. She was so happy. She did a little dance. Even if
she doesn't know that at the time.
Agreed, but it didn't. I'm just pointing out, didn't have any effect on the game whatsoever.
No.
Even if she had given it to Jeremy, if she had played it for Jeremy, then her asses would have gotten voted out.
Yeah, for
sure. She made the right call in that respect.
Too, though, where if you have something like that and you don't use it, then afterwards you'd have the person that says, "Hey, why didn't she use it?" I mean, either way, it wouldn't have really made a difference if she did or didn't. So at this point, it's like, let's just see what happens. So yeah, it was completely of no consequence. But yeah, she would have totally burned herself. It went to Jeremy. So.
And then she asked Jeff to keep it. If she wanted to keep it, why did she bother playing it?
I think it was more a souvenir keep it rather than keep it for something else.
Too.
No, she could have kept it if she didn't play it.
Yeah, no, that's standard. If you don't play your immunity idols or whatever other garbage, you're allowed to keep it. But if you play it, then you don't want to set some precedent where people are playing stuff and going, can I have it back? Yeah, I think at least Jeff is sticking to some precedent. I'm sure by season 41, he'll have just given up on everything and say, you guys do whatever you want. Because it seems like it's kind of a free-for-all at points anyway.
Sure, you could play the podium as an idol.
That's not happening. All right, let's move through these episodes as fast as I can here. I'm going to go back to the first part of the episode where Michelle talks about being out of the loop and bringing a butter knife to a gunfight, which I thought was a cute quote. Jeremy gives back the 50-50, obviously. And then they have this whole arts and crafts segment where they're painting stuff. They got so many paints. They had
so many.
You notice they had a little chessboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, great. I know it's like COVID times out there. There are a lot of parallels you could draw between what they did this season and COVID times, where they got into arts and crafts and they were probably baking different types of sourdough by the fire. That's the secret scenes. So I didn't think there was anything too exciting there. Denise deciding to get some tattoos. Do you think Denise actually got the tattoos?
No.
Endure and let go. She did. I went to her Facebook page.
Really?
Wow.
There's a picture of her on Facebook. No.
On her wrists?
Here and
here. Yeah.
Well, sure.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. So I guess that's kind of cool.
Is it easier or harder to tattoo, like, the more leather you get?
Harder.
I don't know the answer to this.
It'll be much harder.
Okay.
What are you talking about? You wouldn't feel it at all.
Easier. Yeah.
No, you have to stretch the skin. And then when it unstretches, it'd be wrinkled. How would you make straight lines?
Caitlin knows this because she has not one, not two, but 3 tramp stamps.
Those are good life choices.
To prove you wrong right now?
I don't know. Sure, if you like. Spice up the conversation. Yeah, Denise is pure cowhide at this point. Right? So I don't know. I don't think she would feel it, but I don't know what the quality of the tattoos would be. You can go to Denise's Facebook page, or I'll try and find the picture afterwards and see if I can post it. If anyone's interested. So I love the interplay between Jeremy and Tony. I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
Tony has no idea how many days are in a week.
Do you think Tony?
I still don't understand what he was trying to say there.
I think he's playing into the lovable buffoon role, and that's what I think he's doing there. Tony knows there's 7 days in a week. Okay, he can grasp the concept. There's 7 days in a week.
Apparently, I guess there's nine days in.
There's 9 days in
2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Tony knows the goofier he is, the more airtime he gets. So, sure, if that's what Tony's at. It doesn't seem like Tony knows.
Well, wouldn't you consider him as annoying as Rob? Because last week you said you hate Rob for that same thing. Like, he knows the camera's on him, and he's doing things because he knows the camera's on him. But
I don't like the noble hero thing.
Rob.
I don't mind the goofy guy thing. There's an entire difference to the type they're playing to, right? And I hate the Boston Rob doesn't quit no matter if there's nothing on the line and it's a huge waste of time narrative. I don't like that narrative, right? But the goofy.
I don't get the sense that Tony takes himself seriously. I get the sense that Rob takes himself very seriously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Paul. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, that was all I had to say anyway.
So as far as the strategy is concerned, Tony would like to keep Jeremy around. He convinces Sarah that this is the right move. Sarah wants to get on board with that, and they're talking about the Ben, Tony, Sarah final 3. And Sarah really wants to work on Ben and make him think that it's his decision, because Ben doesn't want Jeremy in the game at all. I just love how easily they play Ben. Where Ben comes, Sarah's like, I really think it might be a good idea. What do you think? And Ben's like, yeah, so maybe we should blindside Jeremy. And then you see the next hard cut to him talking to Tony. Hey, I think we should keep Jeremy around and blindside Nick. Great.
Yeah.
So bad. Okay, my question to you guys, and Paul raised this when I was texting with him earlier, is Ben playing for third place? Is that his goal?
Oh, absolutely.
No, I think he's playing to win, and he legitimately thinks he's probably playing a good game, and when he gets to the end. That's how, delusional he is.
Right, but here's what he said. Okay, so what makes me think he's playing for third place, and I'm not sure you're right. All these winners probably have a sense of kind of like illusory superiority where they think that they played better games than they did. But Ben made the statement. He goes, I guess this is the only time I've never received a fire token, and someone's giving me a
disadvantage.
A disadvantage. I guess I have no friends over there, right? And I think he realizes he's not well liked.
Like, is that the first time you figured that out, though? Like, did it take this long? I don't know.
Yeah. Isn't this the right time for Nick, Denise, Michelle, Jeremy, and Ben, 5 people to take a shot at Sarah or Tony? Probably Sarah. They suspect Tony's got the other. You could split the vote at this point at 7. You got a lot of options on the table. These people, I just don't know what they think their path is. Even Jeremy, who's like, okay, I've been loyal. You can only be loyal to a point in a game like this. Final 7, to me, no more loyalty. You got to do what you got to do.
The problem is Ben. I think that Ben is not budging from that position, right? So you can't get that. But they could still do a 4-3 and take a shot at Sarah, which is what they should have done, right? But if you look at, I think the overarching theme of this big episode was this conversation. It's like, oh man, that Tony, he's going to win in a final tribal. Oh, absolutely. No one's beaten Tony. Hey, you know who should we target? Ben. Or like, who we should target? Jeremy, right? Like that was there was about 3 conversations exactly to that nature.
We have 2 specific conversations. One, Michelle coming up to Nick after that first vote out and being like, that was a cluster F, dude. What the hell? How the hell do you think? What is your path? What do you see your path being? She also approaches Sarah at the well, has a big conversation about like, nobody's beaten Tony. Both of those 2 are like, nuh-uh. Completely. I mean, look, I don't know. What do you guys think about this? This is a little off topic, but whatever. It's a Survivor podcast conversation. Michelle is getting a ton of airtime for somebody who is on the wrong side of the vote every single time. What is this saying to us? Is there here's the only way I see that Michelle can win this thing. Look, they recruit whoever comes back in at 6. So there's 6 people. You take Michelle, you take Ben, here's the problem. Okay, so Michelle, the edge of extinction person, and then you have Denise. That's 3. And they're like, this is our last possible opportunity versus the solid 3 that we have. Maybe they take a shot. Right? If they get one of them, that's it for the Cops R Us, right? And then Michelle gets to the end. Guess what? Michelle wins against any of those players.
Yeah,
I think.
Here's the thing with the airtime though. You as well as a winner's edit, you also need a red herring at this point too to not tip your hand. So you have to give 2 or 3 survivors a lot of airtime at this point.
That's a good point. Yeah, and we know it's not Ben. Like Ben's getting the dodo edit.
Like Sophie a couple episodes ago, like we were thinking she was sitting pretty, and all of a sudden, boom, like that, she's gone. Right? She was getting a pretty good edit. She had a lot of screen time.
Didn't have a ton of screen. She had a decent edit, not a ton of screen time.
Yeah.
And honestly, back
to the Wendell days.
All of you experts, I have a question, and I've always wondered this. And you guys will know the answer. So at the beginning of the top of the episode, okay, we're going to get Nick. We're going to get Nick. Nick gets immunity. Second one,
yeah.
We're going to get Michelle. Michelle gets immunity. This happens almost every episode. Is this, like, how is that person a target? And then, like, there's got to, or
it's edited that way for tension, and it might be edited out of sequence too.
Okay. I think it's edited out of sequence. I was thinking that today. I noticed the exact same thing, Randy. Good pickup.
Because I was just sort of sitting there going, wait a minute. And then he wins. Wait a minute. She wins. How they sort of...
It's not just this season. It happens with way more regularity than it should. And it's because everyone's name comes up at a certain time. So that they have a ton of footage to choose from, right? And so if that's... now once they know the result, they'll specifically choose footage that will kind of nullify that result.
Okay. Okay, well, it works. I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it happens in all shows, not just Survivor. Like I've seen that in Big Brother. I've seen it in all kinds of shows that the person who ends up, all of a sudden not being able to be voted out or what have you, is the one who, they make it look like they had to do it for their life.
Okay. Yeah, it's not the patron saint of like reality contestants coming in and having divine intervention, right?
They used to, in old school Survivor, every once in a while, the person mentioned at the start of the show, it was the entire episode just about the dodo edit for that show and how terrible they are. Once a season, maybe you'd get like, okay, there's no contest. This is the person getting voted. There's no other way we could edit this thing. There's no runner-up in this. So we're just going to have this entire episode be dedicated to the boot. You don't really see that anymore because they've got all this footage, and I think they do show it out of order, which, whatever. I mean, it's a television show. They're trying to keep us entertained, I suppose. We moved to the immunity challenge, the first immunity challenge. I feel like production is so tired. They're just phoning in the challenges at this point in the show. Mm-hmm. They, I'll throw a ball up in the air and then do a slide puzzle. All right, sure. Tony's so terrible at slide puzzles.
It didn't look terrible in that one, though.
It was so funny to watch Cagayan last week and just see how bad he is.
He couldn't do the puzzle and listen to Jeff and answer his question.
That's right. Yeah, Jeff was totally distracted. Tony, do you remember how terrible you did the last time that you did this? Tony, you're awful at slide puzzles. Are you aware of that?
Yeah.
I'm better now.
This was a super anticlimactic Nick Wilson win. Like, who is cheering? Oh, yeah, Nick Wilson won at home or there. Nobody cares. But all right. So the only reason they have that, they had that, as Randy points out, the edit where that set up Nick. Oh, well, it's Nick, not Nick going home. So then they've got to figure out what they're going to do. They come up with plan B. Ben's has got these sad little obvious attempts to pit Jeremy against Michelle. Watch. Oh, I bet he asks. You watch him. I bet he's going to come up to you. He's going to ask you about the 50-50. Oh, he's so bad. Jeremy's so smart. He doesn't believe any of this stuff. Like, he's so astute. He really is. And I get why people like him at the end. He just hasn't played enough of the game that I think that he would win. But whatever, people felt that he was a threat. And I don't know. I don't think it's a bad move. Tony's not going for it. He thinks that Ben is a more solid number, which I think makes sense at this point. And as we talked about already, Jeremy gets voted out. Probably a good move for Tony and Sarah. Yeah.
I think that they would have been just as well served getting rid of Michelle at that point. You don't really need to neutralize Jeremy. I think Jeremy's reputation is kind of exaggerated.
You wouldn't think Jeremy's more of a threat for individual immunity challenges, and
certainly more than Michelle.
Yeah,
so Michelle looked.
That's why I agree with the Jeremy first over Michelle. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, he's such a solid number. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like Jeremy's more likely to stir things up and try and mix with the numbers and stuff, whereas Michelle's kind of like floating along. And I don't know. I feel like Jeremy's more of a threat.
Yeah, and also I'm wondering if they're worried about Natalie getting back. I wonder if they have any idea, maybe from other players that come back, how much Natalie is dominating on Edge. I wonder if Tyson alluded to anything when he was in the game. But they might have been worried about Natalie reuniting with Jeremy too.
Fair.
Oh, that's interesting.
He's got a good shot.
That's really interesting.
He does. Yeah, I'm looking forward to discussing that. I'll try and cruise through the episode here as much as I can. I like that Tony said, Tony, I'm always on the right side of the vote. Every single vote. Yeah, you weren't on the right side of the Sandra vote. You weren't on the right side.
He was on the right side. He was on the right side of the Sandra vote.
Also, the spy nest worked.
It was just she played the idols, right? Like
spy nest.
Yeah, numbers wise.
Oh, I guess I interpret it differently because he didn't control that vote.
Yeah, I don't think it counts when you were in the majority. You had a 4-1 thing, and someone played an idol, right?
Two idols.
You can do there. Yeah, 2 idols.
Okay.
Nothing you can do there.
Okay.
You're on the right side of the vote.
Okay. We do see a lot of Michelle talking about how she really wants to mix it up. And look, Michelle does her best to make things happen, which is why I do think she's getting a lot of screen time. But she is unable to make anything happen. We get a quick glimpse to the edge of extinction where Natalie destroys this. I mean, nobody's even, you get this whole misdirect, like, oh, Wendell's going to run up the hill, et cetera, et cetera. Natalie just nails this whole thing.
Beelines.
Beelines it. She's running fast. She's out smarting them, and she's out gunning them in terms of her physicality.
I love Tyson's whole she's one with the island thing. And I'm like,
I love it. She's become a part of the island.
8 fire tokens, though.
8 fire tokens.
Right?
I love how she talks. I got 8 fire tokens. Or 14 fire tokens. I can't do a Natalie voice, but she's so great. I love her accent. I love how enthusiastic she is.
If I was Nick, I would have ripped up that letter, bought myself a tub full of rice and a tarp, rather than disadvantaging one person.
Yeah. I'm disappointed that not one person said, screw this. Like, every single one was like, oh, I have to buy it. I have to rally to get it.
Yeah.
That one was really lame for 8 tokens.
Yeah.
I assume that everybody knew that was the last opportunity they'd get to use them. I mean, I guess if it's some chance to sway the game in your favor versus everything else, but I do like the idea. If peanut butter is one of the options, and I don't know if it was for the people that are in the regular game, I go for the peanut butter. There's so many calories in that.
Yeah.
Honestly, you get so much energy from eating a scoopful of peanut butter. Peanut butter, so far, MVP of the season. Is there, guys, an inherent flaw with the edge of extinction? I think I know the answer to this, whereby people who've been on the edge of extinction since day one have a clear leg up knowing where the throne is, how far away things are, where all the trees are that they have to know, where the sun sets at a certain time. I mean, and then by the time the challenge rolls around, she's got 3 advantages. She's got an immunity idol. She was able to buy an immunity idol for Tyson, like her buddies.
Yeah.
Versus newbies, like nothing. They don't have a single token because they just got voted off yesterday.
Yeah.
I have to disagree. I have to say it's also because of her. No, but because it's because of her stamina. She's a personal trainer. She got voted out first, so this is redemption for her. Let's say someone like okay, who can I pick? Denise got voted out first. She's pretty fit too, actually. But
Randy makes a good point, and I didn't think of this. And I was kind of maybe thinking not in favor of what you were just saying. Like, she has a clear advantage because she's been there the longest. Because I think, like, we watched the episode and we think it's like one day, whereas majority of people that have been on edge of extinction have probably been there for 15 or more days. It's pretty fair.
Yeah.
Plus, I think it's more a disadvantage that she was there first, and she should be the weakest and the tiredest from being there so long and drained, whereas the people who have come maybe in the last week have got to know the island a little bit and should have more energy and be able to outperform her. Someone who's been there 20 whatever days.
Yeah, but the people on the regular island aren't getting like Wendy's takeout. They're getting the same fucking food they are on Edge of Extinction, right?
Yeah.
I think they get less food on Edge. I think
a little bit.
Did you see that little portion they had? That's sad.
Yeah. Jeremy, when he got there, he had this like little scoop on.
Yeah.
Plus, then explain why Boston Rob hasn't lost a pound.
You know what it is, Paul? He's like Hurley on Lost.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hurley was able to obtain a robust physique. Plane crash survivor Hurley somehow got fatter while he was on the show. All right. So Nick works over Michelle and gets a couple tokens. That's great. They have the immunity challenge. The second immunity challenge. This is an old challenge. Like, go ahead, Caitlin.
Nick doesn't even have a chance to win a damn thing. He had to give his away.
What do you mean?
He literally doesn't have a chance to win a token on the edge to get an advantage.
Oh, yeah, no. I know.
So, like, yeah, it doesn't make sense at all.
I'm fine with Nick Wilson not being handcuffed, getting back into the game.
Agreed.
It's fine by me. The immunity challenge, I got nothing to say about this. It's an old challenge. I don't mind it. It's kind of boring, though. It's just really telling that everybody is so disappointed that Michelle's won. Mm-hmm. It's like a little bit mean, I think. But
no clapping.
You get back
a dominoes challenge is as exciting as playing dominoes in your living room. It's not good TV.
Yeah, dominoes is not, ever since the Atari came out, dominoes a distant second to Pong in terms of its drawing power.
It's a redundant form of entertainment.
Suppose. All right, we get back to camp. Denise is like, hey, she plays this interesting ploy where she's like, oh, look, I'll spend all my tokens on rice. Don't do whatever you're going to do. I don't really care. Whether that works or not, look, Denise is still around, I suppose. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I thought it was really poor when she brought it up at Tribal, because I think a lot of people were like, you're still there.
And not only that, she's like playing it up to the jury, like, look at this nice thing I did for my tribe. And it's like, oh God, Sam, sorry. Well, like, no, I don't like it.
Yeah, this is going to be a cynical jury too, so I don't like that play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And didn't someone on the jury say, like, bring it up, like, oh, she's just doing this as a ploy?
Yeah.
Like, they focused on the jury, and one person said to another person, oh, this is a ploy.
Yeah, I think they did.
Guys, you like the spy nest?
Hey, it paid off. Kind of. They didn't vote for Denise, but he heard something.
I honestly think Denise thinks she's going to swing Sarah to vote Tony out. Like, she has to. Like,
do you think it's going to happen?
I feel like it should happen. Sarah should be smarter and realize that Tony is going to plow through everybody, and they just are running out of opportunities to get him out.
Remember, Tony's safe at 5 with the idol, and so
Right?
you've got one more shot.
You've got one more shot at Tony at 6 when the Edge of Extinction person comes back in. Really depends on who comes back in. Do they want to work with Tony? Nobody should want to work with Tony. And anybody coming in from Edge has a second, or in Tyson's case, third lease on life. Go to Rocks. Go 3-3. Right. And everybody left in the game who's not on Tony's side should be thinking, I'm going 3-3. And screw it, we'll go to Rocks, because maybe you take your swing. Didn't Tyson go at 3-3?
You went 3-3 at Rocks, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And Tyson wins that season. So, it's not going to happen every time, but I think if you've got no other play, that's a big move that people will respect. People respected Tyson's.
Do you think the person who comes back from Edge will have a clear kind of idea of who they think is going to win based on the talk at camp there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So they'll probably be gunning for that person and trying to rally against them.
And that, I think that, like, from the snippet they gave us where Boston Rob said, oh, that Tony's a boss. I'm guessing they know that Tony's running the show over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the first time Rob said that. It was just the first time in front of the camera. But I'm sure we get back to the Edge. They're all talking about the game and what they see at Tribal. And Tony's just the most interesting thing that's going on at Tribal, And I think it's obvious that he's controlling things in this vote as well. Tony, Sarah, and Ben are full on into getting Nick out, and they're able to coerce Denise into voting with them as well.
Yeah.
So that's correct. So Nick and Michelle again is on the outside of the vote. Again, she hasn't been on the right side of anything.
Except for you.
That was a long time ago.
Sure. Yeah, there were 1 or 2 votes. I mean, she voted for Tyson too, but just by accident, basically. When Tyson
This is why it's so shitty to have someone who's been, like, effectively sitting there with the jury come back in the game and affect things, right? Like, how is there a defense against this? How can, it shouldn't be allowed. Like, Tony would play a really good game, and the person coming back will tell everyone, we have got a gun for Tony. All the talk is that Tony's going to win. It happened when Chris came back in the season with Devins.
Yeah.
That's true, man. Yeah, Devin. That's very true. That was Devin's. I mean, I don't want to get back too much into the original Edge of Extinction, but
I mean, I think people knew that anyways, most likely, but
yeah, it's hard to imagine he wasn't on people's radars.
Yeah.
It's a lot different than them being like, oh, I think he's kind of playing a good game. It's like, no, I'm telling you, everyone is talking about what a good game they're playing. You've got to get rid of them. That's there's a world of difference between those two scenarios.
It's a very good point. Yeah. Are you a never edger, Paul?
I'm a never edger. It's a stupid it's a stupid conceit, and it just makes the game, like, it just adds more variance to a game that was already a high variance game.
I'm with it up until midway through the merge. Bring somebody into the merge who gives a shit.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
This is way too late to bring someone into the game.
Yeah, it's way too late.
At the very least, you bring someone at the merge and you clear the deck. And those people are not on the jury.
So technically,
no way Natalie should have a vote if she's the first person out.
After this episode, what day are we at?
34, 35?
35,
35?
I think.
35? Okay, so there's like 5 days left.
4 days left.
In Tony's world, there's 5 days.
It's a week left, guys.
It's 2 weeks.
Again, I think Tony and Sarah control this vote. The only thing that this tribal I thought was notable is that Michelle's like, and I need immunity like you need a blue button down in khakis, Jeff.
That was hilarious.
That was a little too meta, but okay. Jeff loves shit like that, which is why it makes the edit. Ben tries some lion and steak analogy, and it's terrible. And then this one went on forever. I fast forwarded.
Yes.
And then I got to the edge of extinction. Retrospective, guys, I thought we were getting a challenge. We had
Me
Me
too.
too.
Me too.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm like, we have
What a
15 minutes left.
Did I need to see like just a recap of everything that happened? Like there was Adam with the podium. I was like, that happened 3 weeks ago. Like I'm not right. Remember this?
Rob C had a great tweet. Hey, this is a great for those people who just joined the season 13 episodes in. They're thrilled that they got a retrospective. Nobody's coming in like, oh, I wish I knew what happened. I just heard about this crazy show called Survivor. I'm going to tune in 13 episodes. Oh, thank God we've got a whole montage. Yeah, so you guys, I take it in that I could have done without. I did like Amber's take a bit on. I thought it was interesting that she was going to miss it. She's like, not for the people, just like the idea of being out there and being alone and watching the sunset and just being in a beautiful place like that, which I thought was interesting coming from her, given that she has 4 kids and she otherwise would have spent time with them. I think it's because she has 4 kids that she's excited to be deserted on an island. And I think she almost wishes Rob wasn't there. But
I think I got COVID-19 vibes, all of us being stuck and all of that kind of stuff. This is my take when I was sitting like, oh my God. I think that like she must have said it, then the editors probably thought, oh, this fits perfectly in what's happening out there. That's what I got. Like this, you know. And so
I thought the exact same thing.
Yeah, Caitlin pointed that out as we watched it, and then they also could have just called up Amber and said, "Listen, we need something topical. Can you do here's a script. Can you do a voiceover for us? We'll play it in the background while we're showing sunsets and silhouettes of you and Rob walking hand in hand." So in general, we were disappointed by the retrospective. I think even Randy, who loves these character moments.
I wanted a challenge. We had 15 minutes left, or 18. I was kind of looking at the time. I go 42 minutes. Well, okay, so we're gonna have a challenge. What? Are you kidding me? No. And I do love that.
It just makes the last episode really cramped.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, the only thing I want to say before we get into our little post-show bits here, spreadsheet, et cetera, is at least I think that Jeff said there's going to be a very, very, very small reunion bit, maybe 10, 15 minutes. And the majority of the 3 hours next week is going to be just episodes and gameplay. So, okay.
Yeah, we don't need a reunion because we've been with these people the entire season, right? It's not like we forgot about the second and third boot like we do in normal seasons, right? Like, there's no reunion.
Yeah, but you know what?
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that's
totally
true.
forgot about her. They showed her. I was like, oh, right. Yeah, I guess she was around.
Yeah, it'll be great to catch up with Sandra again.
I also don't know if I'm excited about a 3-hour episode because I feel like this 2-hour episode is just so drawn out that it's like you're trying to make it long. So now it's 3 if it's drawn out too. Oh, no. I don't know if I'm excited.
We got someone coming back in, and we've got 3 boots, and we've got Final Tribal Council. That'll keep me entertained.
I think you got
what else do I have to do?
Here. Yeah.
What am I writing my memoirs over here?
Oh, God.
I'm waiting for it. I can't wait. It's going to be great. Okay, let's, unless anyone has anything else to add about this particular show, I guess I'll turn it over to Gregoire for a quick spreadsheet update. And Greg, is it possible for you to put it up on the screen? I'm just thinking, if anyone's watching this, and I don't know why anyone would be, this is probably the most boring part for them, where we talk about the spreadsheet. So if they can at least see it, it might be interesting. Not because of you.
That's why I go through it really quick.
You do a great job.
I tried to go through it really quick.
They'll be interested as long as they know that I'm still winning.
How are you still winning?
Yes,
Natalie got like 136 points last night.
She's got
not 136, but can you guys see the spreadsheet up now?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's great.
So if we take a look at episode 13, she got a total of 119 points. And this is one of the things I want to say about this. is she alone in this one episode got 119 points, and Ben has 77 points on the season.
I got no problem with that last part. Look, again, every week I'm falling on my sword saying we may have underestimated the value of the fire tokens in terms of the scoring, but I think to retroactively rescore it would be kind of shitty. So
I think the big thing about her and all of these fire token points, she's clearly on top of everybody else because she was on Edge of Extinction first, and she found a bunch of those advantages and sold them, and she racked up so many, and then she spent them all 14 in the episode.
Yeah.
Right? Plus
the tokens have really become worth 10 points each because you get one and then you sell it. So there's always 10 points per token.
Yeah, I bet Ryan's really regretting swapping out Natalie at this point.
I didn't. I swapped out Tyson.
Oh, you swapped out Tyson? Okay, yeah. Okay, that's not too bad.
I don't really regret that.
The big thing about this episode was Natalie, obviously, and having so many fire tokens and spending them on all of her stuff. Other than that, we had Nick won the first individual immunity, so he got his 15 plus token points for that. And then the second one, Michelle won, so she got her points for that. Then everybody got their normal episode points. And
yeah, we got to rethink the episode points in the future. Note to self: rethinking episode points.
Yeah.
I think you make the if you are a person who never goes to Edge of Extinction, I think you get a little bonus for something like that.
So Nick was the other one this episode who got a lot of fire tokens because he paid that 8 fire token.
Oh my God!
For getting that advantage, and actually both of them, Nick played that advantage at the challenge, and also Michelle played the advantage at Tribal, the 50-50 advantage. So she got points for playing that at the Tribal.
And Denise burnt up a bunch of fire tokens. It looks like she's got a shit ton of points too. So good for Denise.
Yeah, I was gonna say after doing the spreadsheet with all the points, because I was curious where Jamie would be, because Jamie has Natalie, she has Tony, and she made that big jump a couple weeks ago from 21st up to 3rd, and now she's in 2nd. I thought this episode she's going to overtake Paul, but because Denise bought that rice, she got 25 points because there's 5 tokens to buy rice. Right. So she got 25 points, and that kept him in the lead. So going into the final episode.
I think only a Natalie win will save my Survivor win.
The other thing too, I want to show on not because she's my wife, but just because it's interesting. Jamie actually has 3 people left.
Wow.
Tony, Sarah, and Ben. And
all have the lowest points.
With Natalie having 3 advantages in the comeback challenge, plus a immunity idol if she gets in, Jamie could have 4 people in the finale if Natalie comes back.
Oh, I guess Natalie. Yeah, she's gonna overtake me then, because if she has Natalie, I'm drawn dead.
But you have Natalie also.
No, I know, but I'm saying if she has Natalie and 3 people in the game, I have Natalie and Denise ain't winning this game, so it's inevitable that she's gonna overtake me.
Right.
Could be.
That's a pretty strong run, dude. You're pretty much in first place for the entire season.
Right.
Falling short of end.
A proportional prize based on the amount of time you were in the lead.
Next season.
Sure. We'll mix it up for season 4.
So in the overall total of the spreadsheet, Natalie is clear 232 points across the entire season so far. The only close person is Tony with 197.
I think you got to start giving 10 points just for remaining alive and not voted out in the game to each player in the next season.
Yeah.
For the next time we do. We'll have we can do an off-season Sykes' Survivor talk about Sykes' Survivor pool and how we can change the scoring. We'll discuss. So, okay, that's thanks a lot, Greg. Really appreciate you getting the spreadsheet out so quick. I love it. I love these deadlines. It really is driving production up for all of us. Like, I rewatched the show and everybody. comes in with a hot take, and we don't leave it till Monday, Tuesday, or whatever to actually talk about it. So that's fantastic. Okay, let's see. We've got a few bits that we wanted to do tonight. Randy's been waiting forever to talk about Survivor Hotties. Randy, do you have like a hard out tonight, or do you want to get into it?
I forgot about who I chose and everything. That was like 3 weeks ago. So let's just get rid of it. Get rid of my segment.
I think Ryan's got the pictures already.
So looking forward to your ticket.
Come on.
I sell it on this shit, dude.
I don't even have my list. Like,
all gonna do is player of the game.
We just lost our sponsorship with Audible. Thanks, Randy.
Okay, well, Paul, you do your player of the game.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so the player of the game is actually is a difficult one.
I thought so too.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So you could either take Tony or Sarah, but basically they're operating as a unit at this point. So to distinguish either one's game is really difficult to do. They both did a great job incepting Ben with the idea that that voting with Jeremy was his idea. And they really controlled both votes, and they've really improved their position in the game. The only reason I'm not taking them as a unit is just because it's a boring thing to do. And then you'd be saying, okay, if you're not taking them, then it must be Michelle. No, it's not Michelle. Michelle won an immunity, sure, but she was never in control of any of the votes, right? I'm going off island and saying the person who improved their position the most in this game was Natalie. And it wasn't just the buying the 3 advantages in the challenge and the idol. There's a really subtle, smart thing she did. And whether this was born out of just a genuine friendship with Tyson, or if there was a more Machiavellian plan behind it, it's actually quite brilliant. If buying Tyson the immunity idol, she's not buying him an advantage in the challenge. Either she's going to beat Tyson or she's not. If she gets back in the game, she's essentially bought Tyson's vote, I think. And Tyson also happens to be a very influential person amongst those survivors. Everyone gravitates towards him. He has a lot of ties with those people. And also she got the peanut butter, the advantages. The person whose position improved the most in this game is Natalie. That's why I'm giving her the player of the game. If she makes it back into the game, I guarantee you she's at least making fire.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I really like about his analogy or analysis there? Her sister went out first. Wouldn't it be crazy that she went out first and then she ends up winning?
Yeah.
That's
how you bookend a season.
No, seriously. And she went all the way to the end, and then wow.
Any any hot takes on my player of the game?
I love it.
Hard to disagree. And I was thinking about her giving that to Tyson, and you see Tyson take on it where he's like so moved by it, and he's so touched by that somebody would do this. Mm-hmm. If she actually, I really would love to hear a podcast after the season with her and see what her motives behind that were, and just her thinking in general on the entire game. If she gets back in the game, that really makes a lot of sense. Look, if Tyson, like you say, if Tyson gets back in, this doesn't help him get into the game. Mm-hmm. She didn't buy Tyson an advantage in the challenge, right? She bought him something that if she doesn't get back in, it's not something that can be used against her. Mm-hmm. I think that's pretty smart. And as you say, Tyson, all those people love Tyson. Mm-hmm. Tyson and Boston Rob are like best friends. If Boston Rob votes one way, Amber's going to vote that way, etc. So on.
Yeah.
Parv really likes Tyson. They're buddies. Like, yeah, wow, that's and Kim, etc. That's a hot take, dude. I can't really disagree based on the logic there. Although, yeah, obviously, in-game Tony, I'd still give it to Tony. Tony, I think, is controlling.
But how does Tony separate from Sarah in this? Because they're basically making every decision together and operating as a unit. You could say Tony's leading a little bit more, but go ahead.
Here's a take I heard today. I don't know if you guys think this is true. I think it's really funny, though. Is there a way that Tony and Sarah just decided, wait a second, 2 million? I just came out here to play for 1 million. Why don't we'll stay together the entire time, million each? It's against the rules of the show, but who's checking?
Yeah.
Who's checking? They used to care. I don't think they care anymore.
No, I would do that. If I was sitting there, I would sit down with them before and be like, okay, how do we do this without getting caught and sued by CBS? Right? Like, is there a way we can do this? Can I just gift you this amount of money? Be like, no, I really want to help out Sarah in her time of need, right? Like,
police officers would scheme like that?
Yeah. Have you seen like The Shield or The Wire?
People whose jobs are supposed to uphold the law.
Are you under the impression that there are 0 dirty cops?
No, but I mean, they're on a TV show. Everybody knows them. If all of a sudden both of them seem to have a ton more money,
they're already millionaires.
I realize that, but this is like another million. How do you?
I think it's something you can get away with.
Fabricate another million.
You think Sarah Lucina's going to start driving a gold dip Hummer around?
Yeah.
I think they're going to both go about their lives, and like it's going to help their kids and stuff in the future. I don't think they're going to live ostentatious lives, but this is just a theory.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing to back this up.
Sure.
I think it's plausible, but I don't.
It's plausible.
I'm not going to say it's happening or not. I think it's a smart move. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I'd like to jump in like back a little bit and just like the Tony Sarah dynamic or whatever, and it's like they're working as a unit and making decisions as a unit. I feel like Sarah is very much believing that that's the way it is, and it's just like what Michelle called her out on is like perception is everything. The fact that Michelle is noticing that Tony is leading, the fact that the jury is noticing that Tony is leading, it's like I feel like Sarah is going to be just like totally caught off guard when she doesn't even win this thing because Tony's going to just blow her out, and she's just not seeing it. And that's why I'm like, she needs to blindside him sooner than later. It's driving me crazy.
And I think you're right. And also he cut her out of that vote completely when he got rid of Sophie too, right? So
if ever, all other things being equal, that Sophie move is like a boss move, dude. Like it went totally behind her back, but he can still keep her on board. That's a special type of control and influence that you have, and likability. People, when I talk to people casually about Tony, like I don't like Tony, he's a big jerk. Is he? Is he really? You have to have a very special level of likability in order to get somebody on board with you after you betray them like that. I think he's one of the most likable people to ever play the game if you get to know him. We just don't see that. We see the hyper aggressive moves and like the crazy batshit stuff, but the majority of the time you're sitting around at the camp and Tony's just being a goofball and people love it.
But Tony, you voted against me last time. What? You're still talking about that? That was 4 hours ago.
So good.
Absolutely. So Randy, are you saying you don't want to walk us through some Survivor hotties?
I gotta find my list.
I mean, I'm just gonna put them up. I'll tell you who they are.
Okay. I next week for Randy's Survivor hotties, probably.
I mean, we literally do this every week where I'm like, it's happening next week. Is it gonna happen? Randy, we've got you here. We don't have you every week. I can't afford your appearance fee every single week. I gotta save up for that. So let me just. I'm going to cue them up here. Look, I'm going to start with the dudes, and then we're going to move into the ladies. All right, and that's the way it's going to go.
Speak to them.
Let's just go fast. We don't need to talk.
I'm not going to talk for too long. Okay, I promise you I won't. Okay, so we're.
The eye candy.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there you go. Christ, how do I do this again? Share screen. Okay, there we go. There's so many goddamn screens here. Okay, can we see it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so. Is it working?
Are those all pictures of Burton again?
I'm seeing something, yes.
I'm seeing a lot of abs and Speedos almost.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can see all of them. We can't see one in particular.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see all of
them. Okay, no problem. I know how to fix this. So I'm just gonna get right back in, and I'm gonna share screen, and I'm gonna get this hot guy, and there we go. Are we good?
Yeah.
All right, folks. So this is Ken.
Guy?
This is Ken McNichol. Ken was maybe the third place runner-up on some season that I can't remember the goddamn.
Apparently.
Yeah, apparently that's what he. Yeah, he had this whole thing where he said apparently, and he had a friend, Sir Squiddington. Like, I can't for the life of me remember what the hell season he was on because he's such a boring dude. But apparently he's an underwear model in real life, so there you go. That guy was on Survivor, and he did make it, I believe, to the final Tribal Council, where he drooled his way into, I'm sure, a third place finish. This is Peter Bagenstos.
Oh my God, I thought that was Barack Obama.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just bullshitting you. That is Barack Obama. This.
That also could be Barack Obama.
Right?
I don't remember choosing that guy.
But you did.
Yes, not the other guy. Not
no, you didn't choose Obama. Yeah.
I don't remember choosing Obama.
No.
I chose the black guy, but not that black guy over there.
This is from the season that Michelle Fitzgerald won, which was, oh my God, Brains, Beauty, Bronze 2, I want to say. Is that right?
Yeah.
Anyway, there's Pete. Randy's skewed a little bit older in this one, and I applaud Randy for that. That's great, Randy. Thank you. Any comments, Randy?
Oh, I tried to go with different ethnicities as well.
Mm-hmm. I think you've done a great job. I don't know. How's this guy doing in the package region?
Not as good as some of the other guys.
Speaking no, sorry, we can't go right into that. So this is Steve Wright. This guy played on Redemption Island with Boston Rob, which is why you don't remember him, because he was one of the people that I don't know, was just one of the other mindless, faceless people that Rob voted out on his steamrolling to victory.
How old was that guy? Because he's super fit.
Very fit. He's got to be early 50s, I believe, at the time that he played. Yeah, can you imagine being that fit in your 50s? I don't know. I mean, the guy looks great. He's a good-looking dude. Randy?
No, I'm not that fit at all, and I'm in my
Randy, you're still looking good, buddy. Don't sell yourself short, all right? Randy, in 3 years after you've been on the show, you're going to be making this list. We're all going to be picking our favorite Survivor hotties. Randy's going to be right at the top. So there's Steve Wright from season 22. Here we have a returning player, another older gentleman who is in fantastic shape, and that is the great Terry Dietz. Fighter pilot Terry Dietz originally played in season 12 and then came back to play in season 31, where he left early because his son had some kind of a medical problem.
Right, yeah.
Right, handsome guy, nice guy, everybody loves him, and very good looking, attractive. I mean, he's at 30, I can see him being the exact same guy as a lot of these carbon cutout guys that we see, but he's very square jawed, very all-American hero, a nice enough man, and one of the only people confirmed to have actually had sex while on Survivor.
What? Really?
Oh.
Correct. Go back and watch season 12. Okay, for those of you who don't want to go back and watch season 12, there was one of these rewards where they got to spend time with their loved one.
Oh, right, yeah, okay.
And Terry got to go off in a little shack.
With his wife? Boring.
With his wife. And he has since admitted, absolutely, they went to, he took the skin boat to Tuna Town.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. Look, it's late in the show. Nobody's watching anymore.
I'll give up.
So this brings us, and we talked about Chris Underwood last time. There it is again. Okay. For those of you who are looking for a little more Chris Underwood, there he is. Is a winner. Was not invited back this season for obvious reasons.
It would have been really interesting to see him play this season, because no one would know much.
Yeah, I would have loved it. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because he's never really played.
Mm-hmm. He has a different narrative than everyone else. He hadn't spent that much time on the island. I thought he would be a really interesting wild card to have thrown in.
Yeah.
He would have done great.
Yeah.
Please notice the one thing, how his head blends seamlessly into his neck.
Yeah.
You see how enormous and wide this guy's neck is? So great choices, Randy. We love them. Let's take a look real quick. I'll just crack open the ladies. We'll go through them real quick. All right. Are you guys still on board with us? And we can do other bits next time. Okay. Or maybe Junior has one he wants to do too.
I've still got a bit. It won't take long though.
Okay.
Because I'm prepared.
I'll put on a pot of coffee.
How am I not prepared? I'm plenty prepared. So I'm going to fire this open. Well, it's now Randy, we're happy Randy's here, okay? So we'll share screen. We'll go in here. Okay, you guys see what we're looking at?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Aurora. The season that she was, I want to say she was on Ghost Island. Is that right?
Recent, I recognize her. She's a lawyer.
Yeah,
she is a lawyer.
She made it pretty far, right?
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah.
No one liked her.
I still don't.
Yeah, it's true. They didn't like her.
I don't remember her being island hot. I think she kind of lost some of her charms along the way.
Yeah. Yeah, there are people who are island hot, and then there are people who are reunion hot, or, cast photo hot.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aurora's pretty cast photo hot.
Mm-hmm.
She looked good in her tribal councils. That's where I watched all the tribals.
Did you really?
Yes.
Oh my God, Randy,
That's how I picked them. I didn't pick them off of pictures. I went to tribals.
That's an unusual amount of dedication to a segment you would later bail on.
That you would bail on multiple times.
I was not feeling well last week. And, yeah.
It's cool, man. Look, it's just a stupid Survivor thing. All right, there's Aurora. Here we have Haley Ford, two-time player Haley Ford. A bit of a weirdo, completely not involved in Survivor circles, but the producers loved her for some reason. There's a number of videos online you can see where Haley raps. Apparently a bit of a rapper. She went to law school. I think she's since married. Very attractive. Randy, any takes?
I once again in Tribal just loved her girl next door look.
Yeah, I don't know. Girl next door? Why can't this girl live next door to me?
Caitlin?
You want to see the girl who lives next door?
Caitlin? Where did you go?
She left at the perfect time. All right. I'm with you on that one, Randy. Really like it. So Randy went a little close to home here, and he picked Michelle Fitzgerald. Well, what do you guys think? Is Michelle reunion hot? Is she cast photo hot? Or is she island hot?
Island hot for me.
I think she straddles the line. I think she's good looking in a certain way when she. I don't find her like overwhelmingly like attractive, but I think she's good looking in reunion apparel, and I think she looks pretty good on the island.
Her personality brings it down for me.
She doesn't look like herself to me. Like looking at this picture and thinking about Michelle in the game right now, I would not pick this person to be that person.
Yeah, they don't look like. I actually, when you put this picture up, I'm like, who is that? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, that's Michelle. I didn't
Michelle is one of the few survivors I have met in real life, and she is dazzling. She's very attractive and very, very nice. She's a really nice person. Just like magnetic. Yeah, she's really cool. Yeah. That's another picture of her. I just want to point, this is the worst bikini ever. Like, what kind of horrible tan lines is this giving you?
It looks like a COVID mask.
Oh my God!
There, I got you there.
That's funny.
Okay, next up, and I got to be honest, I'm pretty good at this. I did not remember who this was. She was on season 23, apparently, which I'm trying to remember what season. This girl's name is Elise.
Pacific.
Yeah.
Is that Sopa? Okay, Elise Umamoto.
Yeah, Uman. Oh, I don't know.
Is this one of the many chicks that Ozzy had a thing with?
Is it that his season?
Oh yeah.
I think he was on South. This is the season that Coach was on.
Yeah, he was 23. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And Sophie won this season. So
she must have been one of the first 4 vote.
She was an early vote. Yeah.
I can't disagree, Randy. She's very attractive. I just do not remember her whatsoever, and she looks very cast photo hot to me.
Yeah. Cast photo.
I like it though. Good. I like that you're going with some deep cuts, Randy. That's fantastic. That's just another picture of Haley. I'm going to kind of skip through that. This is Randy's last pick. This is Sydney Gillen from season 32. Is this Heroes, Healers, Hustlers? I can't remember at this point. I'm usually pretty up on this, but that's Sydney. Go ahead, Randy.
She looked, okay, so once again, I went to Tribal. She didn't look like this. She looked way better in Tribal. This is not a good photo. But
she may have lost, this is her cast photo, she may have lost a little bit of musculature. I did a little bit of homework on Sydney Gillen because I knew this about her. She is actually one of these muscle building people who goes to these fitness competitions. I have a little something for you guys which will shock and alarm you.
Oh!
Good face, Randy.
That's the same person?
That is the same person, you guys. It's the same person. And there's another little, there you go.
That's what happens when you're super dehydrated and you're about to faint because you haven't eaten in 3 days to do these competitions.
Yeah,
I don't find that attractive at all.
I don't think very many people do.
That is disgusting.
Well, I mean,
it is.
This is just a sort of a weird niche thing, like beauty pageants for little girls and dog shows. That's it's just its own little weird world, and I don't understand anything about it, and I'm not going to pretend to. But I thought you guys might find that interesting.
Very. Okay.
That is the Randy. Thank you, Randy. Fantastic picks. I love talking about these people that I haven't seen in a while.
You're welcome.
Now, we had one more bit that we were going to get to tonight. I'm going to put all bits aside until we have some time for retrospect. Greg, did you want to do your bit?
Sure.
Okay, so we've got Greg's bit. Greg is ready to go, so Greg will go quick. I'm not going to interject in this at all. I'm going to let Junior run the show. Junior?
Well, I'll go, and I would enjoy if people will say if they even remember who these people are, or if they knew what the season. Well, I have the seasons on there, but let me share.
Sounds good. Junior, what's the premise of your bit?
So this is worst cast photos from the 40 years of Survivor.
40 years of Survivor, since I was 3 years old. Oh my god. Oh, oh no.
So you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, we do.
So I'm going through the women first. You'll see I have this on the website.
Okay.
I'll scrolly through the website here.
I'm guessing you're going to be throwing a lot of shade in the mom demographic here, Junior.
Not necessarily. So I didn't put this in like order of like worst to, it's just top 5 women and the top 5 guys. So I put it in order of season. So going back the furthest is this girl, Zoe
Zanidakis.
Does anyone podcast is going to get me too'd at some point.
Look, we're not going to talk about her specific attractiveness. This is worst cast photos. Okay. Junior, you have to justify why you think this is a bad cast photo.
I just figured, she looked very Girl Scout. I don't know.
It's a ridiculous. She's not pulling the Indiana Jones look.
You got a super bad echo, Ryan.
Yeah, Caitlin.
Keeps popping her screen.
Caitlin, can you, if you're not going to be in, you got to turn your computer off. There's some weird echo, okay? Jesus Christ.
Damn, done.
Millennials.
So yeah, does anybody remember Zoe?
I do.
Yeah, really?
Oh,
yeah. I believe that.
Did she make it far in her season, or?
No.
I think she was maybe top, one of the first 4 booths. This is when the seasons had 16 people on them, so she was gone pretty early.
Yeah.
I agree. It's a terrible photo.
I got Lily and Morris. I'm sure most of us remember Lillian, and I picked her because she was sort of a Girl Scout but cougar version.
Yeah. You could have used any photo of Lil for this segment. It didn't matter which photo.
Oh yeah, but as far as cast photos concerned, I just don't know what drives you to show up. I mean, I'm sure that's the premise under which she got on the show. It was like, I'm a Girl Scout leader or whatever. But to wear that stupid outfit, like all I think of when I think of Lil is that stupid outfit where she's got just the shirt on and then her granny underpants on the entire season. And she's just moping the entire time. And this is no knock against moms per se. Lil's personality was brutal.
Yeah, she was rough to watch.
Yeah.
Bring on the next mom.
All right, next we have Denise Martin, season 15. And I thought when I was going through the cast photos, this could be Dennis Martin.
Oh my God, look at that mullet.
Wow.
Okay. I actually really enjoyed Lunch Lady Denise's time on Survivor China. She wasn't particularly dynamic, but I think she was kind of like funny in a Ruby kind of way.
Denise is terrific. And Denise is another survivor that I've met and actually talked to for probably 15 minutes. She was terrific. She talked shit about all sorts of other different survivors, about the show, about Jeff Probst. And she's just like real down to earth. She's a big time Boston fan. She's got a big, thick accent. She loves talking about the Bruins. She's great. She's wearing a Bruins jersey when I met her. She's great. I think there's a picture of me on Facebook with her. I'll pop it up there. She's cool. Like her. Terrible photo though.
Oh my gosh.
Shannon Waters.
Oh jeez.
Shambo.
Shambo's amazing. Shambo should have been multiple returnee.
Absolutely. If she wasn't traumatized by the experience and had to spend time in a mental institution.
I just, like I said, when I saw this photo, I assumed like it was a Halloween version of Survivor that night, and she dressed as Olivia Newton-John or something. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Shambo's great. It's interesting. People have wanted to interview Shambo for Rob's podcast for years, and they can't track her down. She just doesn't want to do it because, like Paul says, she's been really traumatized by the show. So she was kind of vilified on the show. She's a real she was out there, but she's very interesting. That is a brutal photo, though. I agree. I'm with you.
Yeah, not good. All right, next up we have Sunday.
Oh.
Oh. Ouch.
She's got to regret that one. That's not her cast photo.
So when I was going through cast photos, I picked this one from season 33, but all of season 33 cast photos are really bad. But this was the worst one of season 33. But all of them are not good. They're all like in-game shots, I think, that they were just like, let's use that one. And why did they choose to use this one? I just don't get it.
That's pretty brutal, dude. Oh my god. Wow. She does look. I'm sure I've not met. I think Sunday was there. I didn't meet her, but I'm sure she cleans up quite a bit better than
Sunday went deep in the game too, as I recall, right? Yeah.
I just can't remember for the life of me what season 33 was. Was that Triple H, Heroes, Healers, Hustlers? I don't know anymore.
That was the
I think that was my 5, and I have a special mention for these 3.
And Natalie Bolton looks like a sex doll.
Yeah, she totally does.
I know. I picked hers because it's so like porn star photo shoot or something. I don't know what she was thinking for her photo here,
but she famously asked in Final Tribal Council of Parvati, asked her how her survival skills translate to the bedroom.
Yeah, that's right.
It was very provocative. She had some weird shit going on. So were you trying to flirt with me throughout the game? She asked Parvati in Final Tribal Council. She's a weird cat. I'm surprised they haven't brought her back. She was part of the Black Widow Alliance with Sari, multiple-time player. Parvati and Amanda Kimball, all of them have played 3 or 4 times. She deserves a shot, and she's always been in the running. She doesn't quite make it. Christina Radke, former Olympian. I'm not going to say anything.
And then this girl, I just thought she looked like an 80s tennis player. I don't know.
There's an 80s vibe going on there for sure.
Yeah, it's a good
So
look.
you did manage to get 7 moms and Natalie Bolton.
Wow. Mommy issues for June.
I wasn't thinking of anything other than they look horrible in the photo.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, let's move on to the guys.
Chris, no, don't put Chris Daugherty up there.
How dare you?
How dare you?
He just looks like he looks clueless, like he doesn't know what's about to go on.
You're talking about the winner.
He won that season, my friend.
I know. This is nothing to do with how well they played.
I know.
Bad cast photos.
Okay. But this is not a bad cast photo. This is Chris. This is what he looked like the whole season.
Notice the little swirls that come down, like the mullet swirls that are going out on both sides.
I never noticed that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Wow.
Poor Chris. Yeah. All right, Craig.
Okay.
You have a fairly accurate depiction of Randy too.
He's been getting his photo taken for like 2 hours, and he's just looking in this one like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. Just take one.
I loved when what was her name? Crystal voted him out.
Yeah.
That was the best.
Goodbye. See you later. I don't ever want to see you. You could hear her from the voting booth. She was yelling, and everybody who was in tribal could hear her yelling at him from the voting booth. It was amazing. I love Randy. He's one of my top 10 favorite players of all time. He's a terrible human being. He's so funny, though. He's on the podcast, Rob's podcast, from time to time, and he's the best. I friggin' love Randy.
I would disagree with a terrible human being. I think he's a guy who likes his kind of alone time, and
that's true.
And he really kind of has a caustic wit about him.
You're not wrong. Actually, I'll reel that back in based on what you said. Randy is actually a pretty nice guy. He's our other survivor, Randy, that we love. And Randy is actually a school teacher now.
Oh, well.
I know. Crazy, huh? Thanks, Greg. Good one. All right. Who else have we got?
Next we got
He looks like a male sex doll.
Now, this is the biggest douchebag to ever play Survivor. And I'm not basing it off this photo. This guy's like, if you see his 2 episodes, they're bad.
Yeah, Paul and I think are going to do, and if anyone else is interested, we've talked a little bit about some off-season Survivor Sykes' Survivor talk. And hey, look, these top 10 lists are fun. Top 10 Survivor douchebags of all time. Spoiler alert, it's this guy. He's
terrible. Number one.
Yeah, right in Tribal, he turns over to this one guy whose sexuality he questions. He's like, "You got to tell me the truth right now. Are you gay?" What?
Yeah.
Why would you bring that up? Anyway.
And that's the least offensive thing he says, that Tribal Council.
Yeah, that's true.
Leaf Manson is my last one on the top 5 guys.
Okay, what don't we like about Leaf Manson's photo?
I don't know. He just looks like he's going to kill me in my sleep kind of feel to him.
Right. I probably would have left the only little person to have played the game off of this list, but I appreciate that you're pulling no punches here, Junior.
Headshot only.
It is what it is. Wait till you see the honorary mentions.
Oh, do you remember that they got a crate for some reason, and then Leaf would sleep in the crate? It was so stupid. So stupid. Okay.
So that's the top 5 guys, and I think some of the ladies might not like the next screen they see. Oh, actually, this is the 5th one. Sorry. Carter Williams. This guy was looking for a boy band audition, and he ended up at Survivor somehow.
You could. He's a cross between Lance Bass and Joey Fatone.
I love that you know those names.
I got a wealth of information up here that's not useful in any way.
Well, Red Pants Carter is someone who has infinitely edited to have no screen time whatsoever, despite finishing like 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I listened to a Penner interview recently where he explains why. It's not interesting, so I won't repeat it here.
Yeah, I listened to the same one.
Okay.
So now the special mentions. I got 2 of Ozzy. Only because there's a Fabio shot, and then one where he just woke up out of bed. I don't know.
He looks really high in the middle picture. He just blazed a joint because look at those eyes.
Oh God.
Junior, you've really missed an opportunity to go Aussie here.
I couldn't tell you I remember anything about Ryan Aiken, so.
Is he the brother of Clay Aiken?
Yeah. Well, he would have red hair, wouldn't he?
Well, maybe unless it's a recessive gene.
I don't know, Greg. I think you're being a bit harsh. I mean, I loved it when Ozzy sang Black Hole Sun. I mean, that was fantastic.
I mean, I like Ozzy, and I think he's a cool guy, but these photos are not great.
You should have put a picture up of Ozzy with his braids from Game Changers. That was maybe Ozzy's work here.
Wasn't a cast photo, though, was it?
No, it was not a cast. You're correct. It was not a cast photo. The 34 that you have there was his cast photo, and you can see why he did braid his hair.
So
Junior, nice work. Hats off. I loved it. I love that you had it ready to go on the website, and then you had little captions for it. Very well done. Thanks, man.
I'm just glad you didn't name the segment Survivor Uggos, because that wouldn't go down very well.
Look, I mean, we gave plenty of airtime to Survivor Hotties.
Right.
And then we gave some we're equal opportunity here. Giving airtime to everybody across the board, all right?
Yeah.
And those people weren't necessarily unattractive.
No.
They just had bad photos.
Right.
That's all we'll say. That's all we're going to say about that, because we don't want to get canceled or Me Too'd into oblivion, all right? Equal opportunity for everybody.
I didn't want to be mean.
You weren't.
No.
Nobody was mean. And on that great note, you guys, thank you for sticking. This is we had a long show, so we had a long Sykes' Survivor. I promise we won't have a 3-hour recap, but I do definitely wanted to meet with you guys again for a recap of the final episode. I'll let you know when that's going to happen, either Thursday or Friday, depending on how free we are if we're allowed back into the wild again. With COVID times. I hope we can at least all reconvene to discuss the finale. So really nice to see everybody. Anyone have any parting words they want to say before we close her out tonight?
I'm good.
Nope.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody for coming. Really appreciate your presence. Until next time, I got nothing else for you.
Nice to see
you.
you.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, everyone.
Bye,
See you next week.